Andrew Fischer. I'm from Round Lake, Illinois. I'm the men's volleyball graduate assistant coach. I'm in the advanced level coaching program here, and my pronouns are he, him. I went to college at Ohio State. I worked with the women's volleyball team there, and as a member of the LGBTQ community, I was pretty well accepted, and I had a lot of friends who were in a similar place as me, in that this was the first time I was away from home, and I grew up in a place where there weren't a lot of LGBTQ people, so this was the first time I'd been around any people like that, so it was really eye-opening, and I enjoyed being able to be a part of that community and make new friends who were like me, and at the same time figure out a lot about myself. I guess for me, I don't really think about it too much. It's more of who I am, and it doesn't really relate to my job too much. If I was looking for validation and acceptance from 18 to 22-year-olds, and if I really, cared what they thought about it too much, I'm probably in the wrong profession, because at Springfield, I feel like there is a large collection of LGBTQ staff members in the athletic department, so it's been nice to meet more people like that and work so closely with them. Having people similar to me in the same hallway has been super cool, and it's just been a cool way to grow my network and the experiences that I've had within sport. And I think that a lot of LGBTQ people in sport are kind of weeded out at a young age, just because I think youth sport isn't always the most healthy environment for kids, in terms of there's a lot of homophobia, and so they don't always necessarily continue with sport just because they feel left out. And so I think a lot of times it takes a lot even for college athletes to get to that level, let alone feel comfortable coming out. And so I think it's great for visibility, and I've really enjoyed it, just because maybe, you can help inspire the next generation. I think it can be incredibly hard for people to even come out, just because a lot of times you will get stereotyped or pigeonholed, and people then assume gay is your only identifier, oh, that's the gay friend, as though that puts you in this category and you can be so easily figured out. And I think we do people a disservice by that. At the end of the day, I'm still just a person. To these athletes, I'm still just coach. It's not that I'm the gay coach, if that makes sense. I think that for me, it hasn't played much of a role in my personal experiences. I just think of myself still as a person. I think I always kind of knew I was different, but it wasn't really until college that I was able to put a label on it and figure it out. So then starting in college, I came out to people, first at college, then some people back home. And the thing is, the coming out process never ends. I'm sure for a lot of people, this will be my coming out to them, just because I don't always lead with it. If it comes up in conversation, it does. If not, it doesn't. But you never really stop coming out. As an LGBTQ coach, you have to get to a point where you're very secure with yourself, and it doesn't really matter what the athletes think of you, because my sexual orientation, my sexuality doesn't influence my ability to do my job. And especially as a young coach, you have to be super secure in that, but I have to be super secure and super comfortable that I know it doesn't matter and it doesn't influence my job to help make them a better volleyball player, help make them a better person. I think that the important thing to remember is there's no one timeline. People come out at all different points in life. You can know who you are at the age of 8, or you may not figure it out until you're 68. It's just anything on your terms that you do is great, and however you live your life is great. And I think that just know, no matter who you are and what you feel, you will have people who support you and accept you, and you might have to search for them a little bit, but you will find them. I think we're really fortunate in volleyball that it is a pretty accepting community, especially in men's volleyball. There's even a whole league devoted just to tournaments for gay players. And so I think that that's really promising, and it's just nice to have a sport that is like that, and it makes it a little bit easier for athletes to come out. Truthfully, I think it probably stems back to the fact that in the grand scheme of things, women's volleyball is the bigger and more known sport. The entire thing about women's volleyball is a production. If you look at the Final Four and stuff like that, and it's just not on the same scale with men's volleyball. So I think that has helped pave the way, just because in this sport now, men are typically the othered group, so it makes it easier for minorities and people who aren't in mainstream society to come out in that sense.